I sit on the sidewalk curb, hoping that someone will drop some money. Things were not always this way. We used to live right by the beach. That was until my father lost his job. I used to wake up to the sound of the ocean splashing against the rocks. Nowadays, we sit on the curb listening to the cars speed by, people talking, and others laughing. People gather on the sidewalk, some stare, others keep walking, avoiding eye contact. When we do go home to our small shack, we like to make buchalas cansadas. This is one of my favorite foods, but I want something else in my life, a new culture, a new life. Enjoying life is all I want, and I never thought that life would change so drastically. Hola, me llamo Valerie. Vivo de boy soy bien.
I had to get a job working as a gardener. 2 years later, I still have the same job, and neither me nor my brothers have education. My father has wanted us to go to America for a while so that my mother can find work and my brothers and I can get an education. He has been over for 2 years trying to get a job. He found an apartment, but it does not have enough room for the four of us. Back then, we could live in a Dominican house with a sunrise that was more pretty than anything or person in this world. I miss home, but my dad should send me a message to update us on when we can leave. We have hopes and dreams that we could get over to America. Mateo, Samuel, is anyone home? Called our mother. We all ran as fast as we can. Kids, Dan found an apartment in New Jersey for the four of us. He has a job on a farm and you can go to school. Really? Asked Samuel. Yes, but we need to leave as soon as possible, because the plane is leaving soon, stated Mom. The boys and I ran to the other side of the shack and grabbed our pairs of clothes. I have 3 dresses. My favorite one is the red, white, and blue dress, kind of like the USA flag. My brothers grabbed their clothes. They grabbed their trousers before we got out the door.
I was awoken to the sound of the plane landing. I immediately looked out the window of the sight of big buildings and super big skyscrapers. I was so amazed that I just stared with my mouth dropped. It was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. It was decorated with lights and colors. It was really cool. I even thought the smaller buildings was impressive. I walked out of the plane with my family and was greeted by the cold of the city. I asked my parents where we were. They said New York City, but we were going to take a train to Trenton, New Jersey. I asked them where that was. They said north. I didn't know where that was. All I knew that it was the coldest I have ever been. It felt like my fingers were going to fall off. Some people were even in shorts and t-shirts. We met our person that was supposed to take us to show us our apartment. We followed her until we found our apartment. It was run down, but it was nicer than what I had in the Dominican Republic. We have been told that we have a roommate. When we walked in, it wasn't too bad. It had running water, which my old house in the Dominican Republic didn't have. Also, my new house had 2 bathrooms. That's 2 more bathrooms than I had in my old house.
In America, things were different. The people are different, and my life is different. I go to school every day. On Mondays, I go to an English class. I am determined to learn English just as well as I know Spanish. The most important thing that I have learned is that there is a language barrier. The language difference sometimes makes it difficult to find jobs. My father has just lost his job as a farmer and has had a hard time finding a new one. I've tried to find a job that can give us a little more income. My brothers have moved out of a small apartment and have a small family home in a different part of Trenton. School has been rough. The kids have been unwelcoming. Some make me wish that I was back on the streets in the Dominican. I know that my life is way better than it is here, but it is still difficult. I go to school hoping that kids will stop bullying me and just leave me alone, but they don't. I feel like no one really understands me, except for my family and friends. I have one friend here, but we don't talk much because of the language differences. I don't always get their inferences in the slang these kids use, so I'm left out at times. She is understanding and tries to explain when things go over my head. She is nice and doesn't make fun of me. I get teased and bullied often, but what hurts the most is when people tell me to go back to my country.
Language is one of the big problems for new Americans coming to America. Immigrants are going to school knowing nothing about our language, which means they have to learn it themselves or with very little help. It will take a very long time for them to learn English. If schools add more ESL programs, then immigrants will have more success in learning English. What if you had to leave everything you know, and on top of that, you have to learn a new language?